Boys, listening. I'm about to tell you some shit that every single one of those fitness influencers gonna hate me for. I'm about to tell you the truth. First, I'm gonna need you to give me your full attention. Sure, you can sit back, relax, but you need to watch this from the beginning to the end in order. Don't skip around, scroll around to the comments, because I know how your dopaminergic little monkey mind works. The obesity pandemic. Yes, there is an obesity pandemic. People around the world are getting not only overweight, but obese. Not everyone knows why. But first, I need you to do something. It's the only thing I'm going to ask you to do right now. Forget every single thing you know about fat loss or obesity, because it is wrong. It's just blatantly wrong, because your mind has been ingrained with information about fat loss and obesity by a society that is unhealthy. Over 70% of people in Western countries are either overweight or obese. More so a reason that you shouldn't really listen to them, because since self-improvement was ever coined, there has always been the saying, do the opposite of the majority. You do what the majority do, you get what the majority are. So, why has fat gain become such a problem? Why are more and more people becoming not just overweight, but obese? Now, the dimwit fitness influencers are gonna show up with the argument of, oh, because people eat more. Which is true. Not denying that. But stopping there is the reason that this problem hasn't been reversed. We need to dive in much, much deeper to find the actual cause of this. The real question we should be asking is, why are people eating too many calories? And the answer, in my opinion, is the types of food. Now, I could already imagine those dimwit fitness influencers in the comments yapping about, oh no, there's no such thing as bad calories. Yes, there is. When there's no such thing as bad food, yes, there is. No, all calories are the same. No, they are not. We as humans have not evolved as much as you've been led to believe through the past hundreds of years. We still remain relatively the same. Our central nervous system, it's still relatively the same from around 10,000 years ago, or even 100 years ago. Evolution, as we probably already know, takes tens of thousands of years. Obesity was incredibly rare 1 or 2 centuries ago, where I'm going to go to statistics here. The average weight of a man was 140 pounds. The average weight of a woman was 120 pounds. Today, the average weight of men worldwide, 200 pounds. The average weight of a woman worldwide is 170 pounds. So, there's a 60 pound difference for males, 50 pound difference for females. Quite a drastic difference when you look at 100 to 200 years. That, when you look at it in the grand scheme of things, that is not actually a very long amount of time, and such a drastic increase in average weights in such a short amount of time is quite concerning. So this is how we know that there is in fact a pandemic or a crisis. Whether or not you're obese or overweight or underweight or fit like me, doesn't matter, you need to hear this. Obese people are not our enemies. This is not an us versus them situation. We are on the same team. It's like me and the obese person versus the problem at hand. We must believe that most of them, if not all of them, do not want to be obese, because we need to battle obesity as if it were an addiction. And that's the reason I'm making this video. To fight this addiction, I strongly believe, I'm going to tell you the solution now, I strongly believe that the answer is to increase the intake of high quality food. The natural, unprocessed food. We'll talk about this a little later. I'll tell you everything about natural, unprocessed. Fuck it, I'll talk about it now. I'm going to use the term good food and bad food a lot, which may or may not trigger certain individuals who did not take action with my first instruction, which was to drop all of your current beliefs about dieting. If you're one of these people, sucks to be you. Just listen to me now, turn your brain off. Ice cream, bad for you. Sugar, bad for you. Alcohol, bad for you. Junk food, bad for you. Heavily processed foods, bad for you. McDonald's, bad for you. You know this. This has been told to you since you were from 3 years old. Then there are all the foods that are good for you. This is not an opinion. This is a blatant fact that there are good and bad foods. Might seem quite insensitive on my part because, well, I'm making this video because I'm not taking any people's feelings into account as I say this. For those of you who agree with me that there are bad foods and good foods, hopefully now you can see the reason that there is an obesity pandemic at all, because people are choosing the bad foods over the good ones. So, now to address the next burning question, is fat unhealthy? To that, I answer no. Not 100% of all body fat is unhealthy. There are two types of body fat. I'm going to talk about that now. There's two types of body fat. Contrary to popular belief, one of them does not actually lead to metabolic syndrome. Metabolic syndrome, if you did not know, I can get like a definition up on screen here maybe. Metabolic syndrome, I'd say, cluster of medical conditions that significantly increase the risk of heart disease, stroke, and type 2 diabetes. Now, it's very explainable how having a large amount of fat weighing you down can be unhealthy, for example, by fucking up your posture, restricting exercise because maybe you're unable to do any exercise because of a large amount of fat, and this is normally affecting obese people. However, the issue is inherently minuscule when compared to the second type of fat that actually does lead to metabolic syndrome. So, now pairing this with what we were talking about earlier, I want you to reframe your mind about something that fat is merely a symptom of eating in a calorie surplus. We know this. You eat above your maintenance calories, you gain fat, but it's merely a symptom of eating in a calorie surplus. But fat does not directly cause sickness. Fat does not lead to metabolic syndrome or cardiovascular disease or diabetes. Fat simply correlates with these conditions. So what actually may seem as an interesting surprise is that about 20% of obese people are actually relatively healthy because they do not have metabolic syndrome. So now, if fat gain does not cause metabolic syndrome, what does? All health problems that we thought was caused by fat gain was actually not caused by fat gain at all, but by something else entirely. And now we see that fat gain. Now, if we look at fat gain and obesity as two separate symptoms, the question we must now ask is, what are these symptoms of? Now, we could say that there are symptoms of calorie surplus, and perhaps that is the case, but that would fail to explain why certain individuals who still eat an excessive calorie surplus are still considerably healthy. Once again, this brings us back to the subject of the types of food. I'm putting stress on this because this is what I'm trying to tell you guys about, types of food. Now, next part may sound like a conspiracy theory, up until it doesn't. You'll see why. But the answer is sugar. Take a look at this image. Probably going to be either there or there, probably there. Take a look at this image. So now subject A is on top, subject B is on the bottom. Tell me, which subject do you think is unhealthy? Just take a moment to look. How you can pause the video if you want or something. Which subject do you think is unhealthy? Or more unhealthy than the other? Subject A has more fat than subject B, right? No. Well, subject B is the one who's incredibly sick, actually. Subject A could still be a relatively healthy person, but subject B is at risk of possibly dying. It could be hypothesized that subject B could die within the next year or so. Subject B has what is called visceral fat. Visceral fat is fat that is stored by the body not under the skin like subject A has, but around the vital organs. like or the stomach, well, intestines. You know this from like biology and science or something. So now we've delved so deep into this that there's now different types of fat stores. Therefore, I love these. Here's our next question. What is visceral fat? Which visceral fat is a dangerous fat, and we need to now wrap our heads around the idea that there is the subcutaneous fat. So subcutaneous fat is the fat that affects subject A. It's the one that's under the skin layer. And subcutaneous fat, having a buildup of it, may not actually be as unhealthy as media advertise it to be. Keep in mind, this is not an excuse for you to become complacent with your fitness, but this is simply, bro, I'm just simply spitting wisdom out to you. This is where it gets even more surprising. This is how skinny people start to get diabetes. We've never seen this before. This is actually a pretty new phenomenon, strange phenomenon of skinny people around the world starting to get metabolic syndrome. And we thought it was caused by fat gain, which after looking at the study, it's quite clearly not. For this reason, I am adamant to say that this sickness called metabolic syndrome is not caused by a calorie surplus. The biggest strained reason for the obesity pandemic is because of the type of food that we are consuming, which is causing the visceral fat. Visceral fat is the problem, and even visibly skinny people can store this because everyone's body is capable of storing visceral fat, and this is because of your diet. It isn't merely about how much you eat. There's such a small percent of obese people are still relatively healthy because of the scam that everyone's fallen for. You see the title of this video, see the thumbnail. It's because of this dumb little triangle. Now, I won't be diving into every single reason that this dumb little triangle, this pyramid, is the biggest scam that humanity has fallen for. But essentially, the TLDR of it is that by putting carbohydrates as the biggest intake and by reducing fat inherently means that by following this stupid pyramid, we are inevitably going to be eating more sugar, despite the fact that sugar, as the model portrays, should be the smallest component of our diet. We should be only having as a treat or reward. For that reason, this pyramid is flawed, as it is impossible to restrict sugar when fat is reduced. Every time you're in a supermarket, when you would see some food products that were advertised as low fat, reduced fat, if you try it, it would taste like absolute shit. Probably cause some involuntary gagging, but the reason it doesn't is any food product that is advertising. It could be normally in the supermarkets as either yogurt or cheese sometimes, or milk, mostly the dairy products. It's advertised as low fat or reduced fat. In actuality, you look at the back of it, means increased sugar. If you don't believe me, right, chances are you probably actually do have some of these products at home that do advertise themselves as low fat, reduced fat. If you don't, good, you're not wasting money. But if you do, go to your fridge or something, get it out, search up on the internet for like that exact product, how much sugar, like that exact brand as well, how much sugar is in that product. I guarantee that you will be disgusted to learn what you've been putting in your body. Remember this. Fat is taste. Imagine a carb that has negligible fat, like white, plain rice, plain oats, fucking flour. It tastes disgusting, doesn't it? Food is only palatable when it has fat either on it or in it. When it doesn't, literally a plate of shit would taste better. But I know it has reduced calories, we're eating less, we're not gonna get obese. Oh, you know. Now it doesn't taste good. So what is the one thing that food companies can do to make it not only taste better, but hopefully get you addicted to buying the product or addicted to the product so you can buy it again, they can increase the sugar. Sugar is the reason why people around the world are dying. Sugar is the cause of visceral fat. Sugar is the cause of metabolic syndrome. Hopefully this video has opened your eyes to this. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Do the hard work, especially when you don't feel like it. See you guys later.